You know, Roger, I was kind of off the grid the last few
Mhm.
days, and then
Yes,
I
you
heard
were.
something about, whoa, all the IT was not working anymore. Did it affect you?
It did not, because I'm not a Microsoft customer at the moment.
Ah, okay.
So it did
So
not.
maybe, so maybe we should have a little talk about that.
Yeah.
I know now what happened because until today I did not know exactly what happened, but now I know, and I was not surprised.
Mhm. Like when I first heard the news, and then it was said that it's only Microsoft devices were affected, and then I immediately got reminded of that scene from the Space Force TV show. When the spacecraft was, I think, about to take off, or they just needed some kind of a reading, and then the system went on auto update, and it's like, are you auto
Yeah,
updating now, really? And it's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
how
yeah,
much
yeah.
time till an impact? It's like 11 minutes, and how much for the auto update? It's like 47 minutes. I'm like, fuck Microsoft, fuck. That was,
Yeah,
it's like, oh my god.
but that's pretty accurate because
Yeah.
so the first thing I saw was Kyle Kolinski from Secular Talk talked about it, and he was shocked that this could even happen,
Yeah.
and at the end he said something like. The funny thing is, I decided years ago to switch to Mac OS and Apple, so I'm not affected at all. Uh, but of course, yeah, he's right. He's probably better off using non-Windows systems.
Yep.
But he still did the same error like PC people. Yeah, I'm a PC guy, but I'm not a Windows guy, so that's the difference, you know. But yeah, it's easy, of course, for the fanboys. Yeah, Windows fans, Linux fans, Mac fans. Yeah, yeah, it wouldn't happen with my system. Yeah, it could happen with your system as well. That's not the problem. The problem is that everybody relies on one system alone, and that's Windows. And I mean, Windows, basically every Windows installation out there is more or less the same, right? Because
Hmm.
they are always kept on the same level of patch level. You have the Windows 10, which is officially supported, and basically all the computers that running Windows are the same.
Yeah.
But if the same is true, by the way, for Mac OS systems. They are also almost all the same. But when you look at the Linux ecosystem, I mean, you don't hardly find two computers running Linux being the same. There's a different distribution, there's a different kernel version, and so on and so forth. So it's much harder to affect one system if it's not homogeneous like a Windows or a Mac system is. So, and what happened here, just to summarize what happened, an update of some CrowdStrike security sensor software. What was it called? Falcon sensor or whatever.
Hmm.
They come with some driver that is very low level kernel level driver, and that caused a boot loop. And this boot loop is then finishing with a blue screen of death.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So my immediate thought was, how did that update slip through the cracks? I mean, didn't they test it at least once? What was your thought?
I mean, I think it's just how Microsoft, I think, deploys their updates, and I don't know if there is like a option in Windows machine to turn off the automatic updates, at least to not get hampered by
Yes,
certain things.
there probably is, but
There
corporate
probably is.
ITs won't let
Yeah.
that happen.
So I
They
think.
always enable that.
Hmm. So I think, first of all, I mean, whoever is the administrator of those computers, they should have it off. Not have the automated, auto updates or whatever. Because yeah, Microsoft has this habit of fucking it up. So I mean, yeah, to answer your question, I have no idea. I mean, that's a very big deal to pass through all your deployment checks, and nothing basically figured it out, or it
Yeah.
didn't go down anywhere
So
else. Yeah.
I don't know how their testing environment looks like. I mean, at CrowdStrike, don't they have, okay, now we have this update for a crucial part of the software. Okay, let's deploy it to some production like systems and see if it does any harm. And since it did in real world, it should have done in the test environment as well. I
But the thing is,
assume.
I agree. See, I mean, CrowdStrike is the third party who's providing some kind of a, patches to Windows system. But I would say Microsoft is also at fault, here, because I guess some third parties pushing their stuff into your platform, and you should have certain checks to see whether the new coming incoming changes are affecting the overall platform or not. They should have something like
E-
that.
Yeah, you could argue that they could introduce some safe nets or something like that, but they could not prevent the update from happening because you cannot expect that Microsoft has a system where they pre-test any driver updates from a critical customer like CrowdStrike. So, but what they could do for their operating system, and that's what's in their hands actually. What the big problem here was that the system kept booting all over and over and over and over again. A simple solution would be, hey, this driver crashed the system, so I'm
Replace it with the
deactivating that
previous
driver
working
for the
version.
next
Yeah,
boot.
yeah,
That would at least, yeah, mitigate the catastrophe that happened. And I mean, it's so funny. I mean, it's so funny, and they don't learn from that experience. I'm pretty sure they double down. So now they have 5 software packages that prevent some viruses and blah 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 malware, and now they add a sixth one, hey, to prevent failure of update systems or something like that. And then another company comes in and says, hey, we are protecting you against update failures, and then this one gets an update and crashes the system. They don't learn from that experience to at least do a I don't know, the update mechanism. So I just roll out the update for a known audience, tier or whatever you may call it, and if it doesn't do any harm to that group of installations, then I go to the next phase and make a bigger update for more customers. And obviously they wrote that update out for everybody at the same time. That's ridiculous.
yeah. I guess yeah,
So
that's like a mistake from the CrowdStrike's end as well. Like they did a global update literally, and
yeah.
also I think
And I don't know if you heard of that, but some guys in the forums pointed it out. In the terms and conditions of CrowdStrike, there is a chapter that tells, yeah, don't use this CrowdStrike software in mission critical applications like air control or something like that.
okay.
So that they even say, hey, if something goes wrong, we're not at fault here.
I think
So
this
it's
is the
the
company that
customers
makes
as well. They
antivirus,
don't
right?
they don't do their job because they shouldn't have used that software in the first place because the terms and conditions said don't use our software. It's too dangerous.
That's weird. Uh, okay. I mean, the thing is, like when you were saying that it would be difficult for Microsoft to track, I think I don't know. Maybe it's a big company. They can at least build something to ensure that whatever third party stuff comes into our software, that is at least validated before deploying to our customers, because Microsoft also has control over that as well. You
Yeah,
know.
I guess that's something they advertise for. Hey, take Windows because we are the stewards of the ecosystem, so we take
Yeah.
care that no bad software comes into your computer.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, because
so
I
they
remember.
did not follow up on their promises as well. So, but do the companies learn from that experience? Do they think, hey, how about we do not rely on Windows only? Maybe we should diversify our installation in the IT a little bit. I mean, we have heard a lot of problems in IT lately. There were a lot of things, and mostly they were associated with Microsoft systems. I mean, Microsoft
I
using
mean,
their key to the
uh,
Azure cloud. You
true.
know,
I mean, Microsoft has, I think, the biggest pie of that market,
yes.
with the Windows. And even though, for example, Mac is great, Linux is great, but they don't have that market share. Microsoft is cheap. Windows is cheap,
Yeah, well, that's
and
partly true, but
partially true, yes, and also
look
I
at the
would say,
cloud. You
yeah,
don't
yeah. The
find
thing
Windows
is,
servers anymore.
the accessibility and also the see, Linux is good, but even when I first started out with Linux, because I was coming from a Windows background, I was used to the UIs and all that stuff. People who are used to Linux, they find it amazing, yes. But if you would just show a Linux UI or something to people would find it weird. They'll be like, I don't know which option is where, and then there is a learning curve, to understanding it.
True.
Um,
I would
and I
totally
don't think.
agree with that opinion
Mhm.
unless Windows 10 comes up or Windows 8 even. Because what Microsoft did to the UI, as a long-term Windows user, you don't know anything. Where is it now? They have two system settings, and it's so weird. If you show a Windows user, and you have made that experience, a KDE desktop, it's so much easier. Of course, first of all, first you don't know it because you're new to that thing, but it's consistent. At least it tries to be consistent, much more consistent than Windows. That's for sure.
True. I mean, the thing is, I think I don't know if it's the problem with the people who distribute Linux to the hardwares with the hardware companies. I think it should come inbuilt. I don't know if there are many laptops that come with Linux inbuilt.
Not much.
Not much, yeah. So I think that's one problem there as well. I
Yes.
think people who want Linux, they would have to do it by themselves, and it's difficult for many, many, many people
Yeah, yeah, sure.
to install it perfectly and to make it work fine, because one has to be really, really passionate about having Linux in order to do that.
Yeah.
Windows is easy; it comes with by default and less learning curve. So I think that's why they have like a super dependency on a lot of the customers. Airports, medical, and everything got stuck that day,
Yeah.
literally. So,
Yeah,
and I don't think it's
that's
easy to
scary.
replace.
That's very scary
Scary.
because it shows that so many critical infrastructure is run by Windows,
Yeah,
and oh my God, that's not good.
that's not good. Yeah, I mean, this company has
So
a history of fucking things up,
yeah,
and big time.
yeah,
So if and their security, I don't know if it's that reliable. If somebody goes into their system, they can literally stop the whole world. You know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
As I read a comment and the Chinese and the Russians. So oh, we didn't know that it's that easy to
Yeah.
bring down the whole industry.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, that's what happened with this CrowdStrike problem. Yet another
It literally
checkbox on
struck the
Microsoft.
crowd. Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally struck the crowd. Yeah.
So I don't know. So for my opinion is now okay. How many more of those events does it need for the companies to realize that it's not a good idea to only rely on Microsoft? That's the one thing. And
Hmm.
another thing is maybe politicians, especially in Europe, should realize, hey, wait a minute, should we really rely on US software now that there's the danger of having Trump as a president, and he doesn't care about Europe whatsoever. So, and if it's that easy to manipulate computers, and that was an accident, but it also could happen, yeah, willingly. I mean, who could stop
Well, I
anybody to say,
mean, the
hey,
thing
hey,
is,
Microsoft, stop the computers to work? That could happen. So as a politician in Europe, I would say, hey, let's try to find alternatives to at least start with Microsoft products. Throw Microsoft out of the window, pun intended.
I mean, see, first of all, I think it's a big, big, big investment in order to replace Microsoft products and bring something new, get people trained, and have things work properly. Um, I think it's a big task. I don't think
Sure.
I mean, yes, a politician or maybe even let's say German chancellor, for example, let's say consider Germany. He decides to do that, but then it will take few years, for
Well,
that things to happen.
talking about the Chancellor Olaf Scholz, he
Yeah.
recently got in hot water because he advertised for a Microsoft Cloud and SAP.
Ah, okay.
So he's a big fan of Microsoft. So I don't expect anything from this
Yeah.
Bundeskanzler.
I don't think. I mean, I understand your point, but I don't think it would be easy to replace Microsoft at all. I
Yeah,
mean,
of course it's not easy. It would have been easier 20 years ago, and they did, and then they rolled it back, and it's a mess. But anyways, that I don't know how many of such events does it need that the people finally wake up and
I
say,
think
hey,
this
there is
this was
something
a
wrong.
big enough incident for sure. I think
Do you
a lot
think?
of companies who are smart enough to have options or at least have the resources to replace at least some of the stuff or at least the critical stuff from their systems, they would do it. And for example, I
Okay.
think from Tesla, I think Elon Musk literally said that they would remove it from Tesla, the CrowdStrike, that company's whatever integration they had. So I mean, people just need to do it. I guess take a
Yeah.
strict action.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I hope you, our beloved audience, was not affected by this by this
Yeah, I
problem.
was not. I mean, I just got to know through the news
I
only. I'm like,
mean, I
okay.
don't mean you, Rajat. I mean the audience. You,
Oh, sorry, I
the
got it
dear
wrong.
viewer, was not
Yeah,
affected by this.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
We hope. Sorry.
that's our take on that IT event
IT
happened
event. All
in a
right
couple
then.
last couple.
I think
Any last thoughts on that?
no. I would say just fuck Microsoft.
Okay, that's a clear statement. Okay, well then, yeah. See you then.
Bye.